Hey guys, welcome back to Leadership Stack Live. We are always on 8 p.m. every Thursday night. So it's 8 p.m. right now, and we are going online. Hold on, let me just turn on my lights. I forgot. There. Forgot to turn that on. All right. Check my audio. Audio is working. Perfect. So we have a couple of questions tonight. Again, I think it's going to be short episode, and that's because we don't have a lot of questions. I didn't send out an email blast for this episode tonight. If we do wrap up ahead of time, that's fine. This episode is always gonna be in the podcast. If you haven't yet followed the podcast, you can just type leadme.ph/Spotify. In fact, let me just do a banner on that one right now, so you guys could follow there. So it's leadme.ph/Spotify. You will get to the show and you can follow the show from there. So it's 8 p.m. I'm going to be answering some questions already tonight. If you have questions, business, consulting, you want to ask me about your business or a startup idea, I am going to answer that. So this is actually kind of like a free business consulting session. And if you want to ask questions, you have to go to this link right here. So you have to go to from.c/Discord to ask your questions, because I choose the questions from there. So we're going to go top to bottom. First is from Mr. RJ Legaspi. What is the right mindset for success and failure in starting up a company? First off, success is relative for each individual. Success could be happiness for one person. Success could be financial wealth for some people. Success could be financial security for some. As long as alam mong may makakain ka araw-araw, di gugutumin yung parents mo someday when they're old and gray, and you are able to provide good education for your kids. For a lot of people, that is already considered a success. For some people, they want to be millionaires, billionaires. There's different kinds of people who have different definitions for success. Now, if you say what's the right mindset for success, it's having that focus to go after whatever success means for you. The biggest thing nowadays that hinders us from success, in my opinion, are distractions. And that's because we live in a world full of distractions. Your phone is the number one source of distraction in your life. It's not your hobbies, it's not your pets, it's not your husband or wife or parents or siblings or kids. It's your phone. Sarap sana no pag it's a real person cause for your distraction, because it's a relationship, but no, it's not. It's your phone, it's your smartphone. That's the number one source of distraction that we have today. Whenever there's a notification, Facebook Messenger, SMS, Viber chat, WhatsApp, whatever it is, we are wired to just pick up the phone and give it attention. Last week I mentioned that my phone is always on DND. That pisses some people off because they couldn't get to me in time. And the reason why it's on D&D is because I need my focus time. I consider myself a creator, and when I don't create things for the day, I feel like kulang yung araw ko. Like I wasn't able to do something productive for the day. So when you create, you need focus. You can't be distracted. Your phone cannot be ringing and you answering the phone all the time. Creation requires deep work, and deep work happens within the first hour of focus. You have to be focused for 1 hour before you actually create something deeply. Okay, that's from the book Deep Work by Cal Newport. I do recommend that book. If you want to read it, get it. I read the real book. I was fortunate enough to buy it pre-pandemic and finish the entire thing. Brilliant guy, brilliant book. I do recommend that book for you. So for me, success is having focus. really taking off everything that's distracting you, that's hindering you. It could be your phone. It most probably is your phone, so you have to maybe uninstall some apps, maybe make it turn it into do not disturb mode, like what I do 24/7. It's on DND, not even on vibrate. And that's because we're wired to just get our phone whenever there's a notification or a vibration. Downside is mahirap akong kontakin. No? For some people who really need to contact me, I have to get back to them at some point in time. That's the downside. But how often does that happen? Not a lot. Really, extremely rarely does that happen. And plus, I can always get back to the person. So that is something that I think you should have as a mindset. Just being relentless, being determined, just eliminating all the distractions in your life. The right mindset for failure, I think this is more important because a lot of people have good mindset for success, but the right mindset for failure, that is very, very important because a lot of people are failure averse. Di tayo tinuruan bumagsak sa school. Walang teacher magsasabi sa'yo na okay lang bumagsak. Zero. No professor, no teacher will tell you okay lang bumagsak. And that's because you pay for tuition fee. And that's because you're going to repeat it if you fail. So people are failure averse. We grew up that way. We were trained that way. We were hardwired that way. Well, guess what? Life involves failure. If you want to succeed, and I tell you, a lot of failure goes into success. Do you still want to go that route? Gusto mo pa rin bang subukang habulin ang success? Kapag sinabi ko sa yung a lot of failure goes into success, you will fail a lot of times. A lot of people will say no. I would rather live a life where I can get by than live a life of success. And that's because I don't want to fail. No one wants to fail. We were never trained to fail. But guess what? Failure is necessary. In fact, it is a part of success. May kasabihan nga na, don't ask how a sausage is made if you're eating one. Don't ask how a sausage is made if you're eating one. So don't ask me how to get to that success, whatever success means for you in your head. Don't ask me how to get to it because the answer is a lot of failure goes into success. And that's the truth. You have to learn to fail and fail forward. You see people who are successful, they're on top of a mountain, maybe. You see them as an overnight sensation, but guess what? That mountain is full of dead bodies. And those dead bodies are the dead bodies of the person standing on top. They failed a lot of times. They died a lot of times. And they were resilient enough to just get back up and climb again. Climb on top of their dead body. Saklap pakinggan, but really, that's kind of what it feels like. That's kind of what it feels like when you're trying to get to success because you have to fail a lot of times. A person standing on top of a mountain has climbed a mountain of his or her own failures. That is the truth. And if you want to be a successful entrepreneur or a businessman someday, that is pretty much the road you're going to have to travel. There is no shortcut unless you're going to do it in a dishonorable fashion or an underhanded fashion. Then you could probably do it in a much shorter time span. But, I'm a man of faith. I believe that there is a God and judgment comes someday. So my advice is do business with honor, do business with integrity, fear God, love God, and make sure that when you're doing business, you do it right. Because you can only, when the moment you do it wrong, kahit konti lang yan, the moment you do it wrong, you're going to go down that rabbit hole. And it's very hard to climb back up. Always remember everything is given to us by God. And if you're not a good steward, meaning you don't take care of the stuff that's entrusted to you by God, nandadaya ka, you cheat, or you do under the table, it's going to come back to you, right? God's going to come back and, we're going to get what's coming to us. That is what I believe. Next question is from Jazz. Jazz, thank you again for tuning in and asking your questions. Again, if you have questions, we do have a lot more questions coming in, but kung may pahabol kayo, there's still a lot of time. So just go and log in to fromthetron.c/Discord. The link is here. Sign up and ask your questions there. From Jazz, was there a time in your life when you question your confidence? in the business you're running? Yes. Yes, and yes, yes, and yes. There were lots of times in my life na naisip ko, am I really fit to run this business? Did God really make me CEO of this business? It's so hard. There were a lot of times when I failed, and there were a lot of times when literally I was on my knees, locked in a room, and all I can do really is humble myself before God and pray. And I tell him, Lord, di ko na kaya. Di ko na kaya gawin to. Di ko na alam kung anong gagawin ko. And one clear picture of that is at the start of this pandemic. A lot of businesses got wiped over time, but over a short span of time. Right? So unemployment rate 45% from 7% in January, 45% in August. That's huge. That means a lot of businesses closed down. A lot of businesses got wiped. And my business, SEO Hacker, was also affected. Workplace, my fourth startup, was also affected. Queries, also everything affected. So that was one time when I recently got on my knees and had to pray. And I just was honest with God and I said, I don't know what to do. Please help. And God gives wisdom. Talagang galing sa kanya yun. So we were able to keep all our team members in the team. We never fired anyone or retrenched anyone. We made programs to adjust pay grades, but we also made sure that coming nasa Execom, we took pay cuts, zero. We did not get salary. And I even took out from my own safety net to make sure that people got paid the right amount, even when our clients weren't paying us right. So most of my clients are local, and I understand. Nagkakaproblema din sila. Their customers are also not paying them. We have to understand during times of crisis, you can't do business as usual. It has to be relationships. That is when you use the relationships you have built with your clients. And kailangan nyo intindihin yung isa't isa eh. So, with my clients, same. I understood them na hindi nila kaya magbayad. I also had to haggle with my people. This is what we're gonna do. Better for all of us to suffer a little than some of us to have to suffer a lot and lose their job. So we all agreed to that. And that's how we made it through. No one got axed in our organization. We kept everyone in the team. But there were lots of times when I did question my confidence in running SEO Hacker. But during those times, the first thing that I do, lock the room, get down on my knees, and be honest with myself and my God. Another thing that helps me is I journal. That helps me to process what I'm feeling. So instead of me being angry and just exploding to other people, could be my family, could be other people in the team, I don't know. But I try my best to keep that from happening. And thank God, wala namang maraming instances nun. And that's because I journal. When I am not rested, I feel restless. And I feel like there's something really bothering me. I pray and I journal. Those two things help me process and help me release and vent out the emotions that are just overwhelming for me. Now, a lot of people I know don't do it that way. Instead, they would post statuses on Facebook, Twitter, and dun sila magrarant, dun sila magli-leak. We call that leaking out. And it's not good. You know why? And there are some employees who do this, sadly. And I tell people, especially business owners, no, now if your employees do that, they leak on social media, you now know it's fair game because it's public domain. Social media is a public platform where the public can see what they're posting. Yeah, it could be their friends, but their friends is part of the public. They're not part of a secret private organization. They're part of the public. Twitter, the same. It's a public platform. So people who see the things that they leaked out on social media, even nasty things about their own organization and company, that's gossip because that's a negative thing that you just leaked out on the social media platforms. So what I tell business owners and friends is when your employees do that, you have to tell them, now that's fair game for me to consider on your next raise or on your next review because that is a public thing that you did. You have negatively put my company in bad light. You have negatively put the company and the person paying you so that you can have a livelihood and you can eat in bad fashion, in a distasteful manner. So now that it's fair game, you can use that to your advantage on their next review, and they can't do anything about it because you have proof that they gossiped and slandered your company, and you as their boss or leader publicly. So that's what I say. Do not leak your emotions, especially on social media. Write it down on a journal, pray about it. That way, you have dignity and you have honor to keep things yourself, not exploding to anyone. And you didn't hurt anyone in the process, but you were able to let it out. You were able to vent it, and you feel better, and you can process things better, and you see clearly. And overall, it is a much better, more sophisticated way to handle your emotions. From Patrick Miguel, thank you again, Patrick, for being here. Every week ka na lang nandito. I really appreciate your help, your questions. And I didn't know it's Marvin Germo's birthday. September din pala siya. No, I'm September 6th. So happy birthday, Master Marvin Germo. If you're tuning in, happy birthday to you. What are the top 3 things I learned from Marvin? Flattery. So no, I'm just kidding. Top 3 things. The first one would be when I attended his Stock Smarts seminar/workshop. It's fantastic. I learned so many things about technical trading, technical analysis, fundamental analysis, and trading and investing. And ang dami ko natutunan doon. Super sulit. And Marvin was kind enough to really just let me experience the entire ordeal. Second thing I learned is be generous. Yeah, I consider myself a little bit generous because I do blog and I do this publicly, and I've been blogging for SEO Hacker for a very long time, and people read the stuff that I write there, the strategies, tactics, the Google updates that I write, and it's all for free. So kala ko generous na yun. But when I watch Marvin's videos, oh man, his generosity is super. Ang dami niyang sinasabi, ang dami niyang information, no? Ang dami niyang analysis na pinapakita at binibigay sa mga tao. So second thing would be his generosity. And third thing would be humility. Marvin is I don't know, he's probably one of the richest people here in the country. I think that's not inaccurate, but he has the humility to still help other people like me. I'm a nobody, but he does help me out. He comes into the show, guests in the show. We have partnered up with a live event, makemoneygrow.ph. If you're interested in watching that event that we did, I talked about making how you can make money through business. Marvin talked about how you can grow your money through investing. That's why the URL of the website is makemoneygrow.ph. You can purchase that course, 1,500 pesos lang po yun, and watch the entire videos, ang dami ng videos, and learn from it. So that humility, something I learned from him. So I just want to honor him tonight. Marvin, if you're tuned in, I just want to honor you. Thank you so much for your friendship, for your generosity, and for just being who you are, bro. Alam mo naman yun. So another question from Patrick Miguel. Who are the top 5 persons that influence your leadership? Top 1, and I don't consider this cheating. So influencing my leadership, entrepreneurship, and management style. Top 1 would be the Bible. So it would be how God has laid out how you should manage your money, how you should do business in the book of Proverbs. If you have never read the book of Proverbs, it's not a thick book in the Bible. It's pretty much in the middle. And just read Proverbs from start to finish. You will learn so much about business. You will learn so much about money. And I have learned a lot from Proverbs, and I've applied a lot of the principles there. I would say that has definitely influenced me in terms of my decision making as an entrepreneur. Second biggest influence would be Dave Ramsey. So I have read his leadership book, and it has really influenced me in the way he thinks, the way he runs his businesses. And I have adapted some of his processes there, like his firing process, hiring process, his building his company culture. Third would be Patrick Lincione. When it comes to team culture, leadership, and management, Patrick Lencione's books are phenomenal. The Advantage is a really good book. And the 5 Dysfunctions of a Team, that's also an eye-opener for me. So a lot of my influences are actually foreign. And I do tune in to John Maxwell as well in terms of leadership. So maybe he's going to be the fourth influence. I've read his 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership when I was 12 or 13 years old. And that has helped me to grow in pursuing leadership, right? Leadership kasi is not tangible. And when you're a teen like me back then, I was 12 or 13 years old, I wasn't thinking, someday I want to be a leader. More of, I was thinking someday I want to be a programmer or a businessman, not really a leader. But his books actually paint a really good picture about leadership. And you realize I must be a leader if I want to be anything else. So that has helped me out a lot. Fifth would be Dale Carnegie. I know that guy has long passed, but his book, How to Win Friends and Influence People, I cannot recommend it enough, is the book for communication and winning people over. And John Maxwell has also professed that that book pretty much changed his life. It's the first book that he read from cover to cover. So that book is phenomenal. Read that book. It has influenced me a lot in how I communicate and how I deal with people. So most of my influences are those, they're foreign names, but they are fantastic. And they have mentored me in a way because of their books and their podcasts. From Cedric Choa, thanks for tuning in, Cedric. Cedric's also part of SEO Hacker. He is working with us and he is growing with us. And his question is, can you share with us your fair share of moments of failure? Fair share. The first thing that comes to mind is when I was hiring people. So I failed a lot in my hiring process. That's because I have a strength and a weakness. My weakness is I trust people too much. My strength is I trust people too much. So it's a strength if the person I'm trusting is really good, honest, and high honor. They really want to do the job well. They're responsible. They're disciplined. It is a strength because we will work really well together. But it is a weakness if the person that I'm trusting is the wrong kind of person, is dishonest, leaks out, gossips, and is not responsible for the work that he or she has to do, then I get a lot of damage. And unfortunately, early on in SEO Hacker's time, I hired a lot of wrong people and I trusted them completely. So that was a huge mistake on my end, huge moments of failure. It was a disaster. The slander against me and SEO Hacker would go all the way to universities that really has nothing to do with me and has nothing to do with my company. So ganun na siya kalala, no? Umabot na sa kung saan-saan. I have no idea why they would do that. As far as I'm concerned and as far as my memory is concerned, I have never wronged these people, but they must just be the wrong kind of people that I hired. And it was wrong for me to trust them too much with information that I shouldn't have trusted them with. So that was definitely a huge moment of failure for me. Other moments of failures would be probably when I call people out in public. So that is a weakness of mine, and that is because I'm an extremely high D in the DISC spectrum, a very dominant person, always asking when can this be done? When's that going to be done? Why didn't you finish it on time? Why did this happen to this project? So I'm very task oriented. My empathy is not extremely strong. Well, it's not strong at all, actually, because I'm more of a say it like how it is guy. And I'm very frank, very truthful. Sometimes people don't like to hear the truth if you don't say it right. So I tend to not say it right. I tend to call people out in public. That is a very big mistake. And I do honestly regret those times that I did that because it's wrong. And you lose people's loyalty that way. So if I had to do it all over again, I would do it one-on-one, privately, or in a close circle of trust. At least we all know each other, we're honest with each other, and it's fine for us to call each other on our blind spots. From Mark Davis, what is your biggest mistake? So I'm talking a little bit faster because the questions are coming in. And again, if you have questions for me, log in from the channel.c/Discord. We have the Discord group. You're going to be part of the community and you can ask your questions there. So why we do it this way and not on Facebook and YouTube is because we want to build a community. We don't want just anyone asking questions from wherever and they're not tuning in anymore. So this way, when you're in Discord, you get notifications from me when I learn something new. I share it with you. When there's a webinar that's free or free only for my community, I get to share it with you there. Or if you have, again, questions like business consulting questions, it's okay for me to answer those questions. So from Mark Davis, what's your biggest mistake in your business? I would say the same is the hiring process. It's a common mistake. It's not uncommon for entrepreneurs, especially first-time entrepreneurs like myself, to have a sucky hiring process where my hiring process was like this. I need someone in this position. So I'm going to search in Facebook and post it there. And then people would apply. I interview them, one seating, and then I say, you got the job. And guess what? They burned the job down. And what makes it even worse is I need to fix that and do the job myself. So it doesn't make sense that I have to get them and pay them to do it, and they burn it down, and I would have to do it anyway. And then they go around gossiping and slandering the company and me. So it is a big mistake. And how you solve that? Take time. Take time in your hiring process. Right now, our hiring process is a lot longer than what it used to. So we have a 6-step hiring process. A lot of our applicants actually tell us that it's too long, or it's the longest hiring process that they've ever had. But here's the thing: we get the best people out of that hiring process. And I'm not the only one saying that, because I'm now working with the Exicom or board members. And they say that we really get good people now compared to when I was the only one hiring. So yeah, that's the biggest mistake. From KB, do you choose the type of people you want to be with? The type of people you want to listen to? Or are you a people person that is easy to mingle with different types of personality? Does this affect you in achieving success? All right, we have a lot of questions in that question. The answer is I network a lot. That is part of my job, because as the CEO, I'm the main salesperson. It was just last year when finally I had a business developer, and she is fantastic. But I'm still also running gun when it comes to sales. So I have to do a lot of networking. And if you can't get along with people that you don't know how to open new conversation, you don't know how to be interesting to them, you don't know how to be charming, you have to study that. You have to hone your communication skills if you want to sell. Networking is very important. If you've never heard the phrase, it's not about what you know, it's who you know, that phrase is true. It's who you know that will help you succeed in your business. Because you have a lot of connections, you have a lot of solutions. So if you can't network well, if you can't communicate well, if you don't choose the type of people you want to get in touch with or you want to get connected with, then you're wasting a lot of time. So I do choose the people I want to be with, and that is because there are people who are not good influences. And then there are people who are also just going to drain from you, meaning you're not going to be able to utilize them for anything. They're not going to be able to help you in any way, unless I'm doing ministry, in which case I am sharing my life with them, not expecting anything in return. Then that's the only time where I don't choose people. But if we're talking about business, I do choose the people that I spend time with. Do I choose the type of people I want to listen to? Definitely. I listen to podcasts that's handpicked. I don't randomly pick podcasts. I pick podcasts that, especially the episodes that I know would be helpful for me, that I need to learn from, especially when it comes to business and when it comes to the shake-up that this COVID pandemic has brought about. Am I a people person that's easy to mingle with different types of personality? I hope so. I hope so. As far as I'm concerned, I have been able to network with different types of personality, and that's not really because of me, because I'm an introvert. I really don't speak well before. I really wasn't able to communicate well before, but I have developed these skills over time because I needed to and because I wanted to. And that's by reading a lot of books. And when I read books, I read them out loud in English. And that is actually how I got my accent, because I would read with accent. I'm not really a person who grew up in the States. I've never been to the US, actually. I've lived my entire life pretty much here in the Philippines, but I would read books in English out loud Sometimes I would play with the accents, and that has helped me to improve my spoken English. And I do make sure that I get along with people when I network. Does this affect you in achieving success? Definitely. Again, it's not what you know, it's who you know. We have another question from Patrick. Patrick Miguel, what's the one thing you consider your greatest failure that led to your success? Well, I failed 28 units in college, and LaSalle wanted to kick me out because of my failures. That's a lot of failures, by the way. And those failures are because of cutting classes and because of my absences, because I got so addicted to data. And that those failures led me to my last 2,000 pesos in the bank and in my pocket. As painful as it is, I wasn't always a personal finance management guru or thought leader. I really wasn't. I was broke. And I guess that failure led me to humble myself before God. And I told him, I just want to start a blog for you because my passion is writing. And I started the God and You blog. And if you haven't heard the story yet, the God and You blog was where I wrote about my faith. But no one was reading my stuff. So I searched in Google, how do you increase your readers and subscribers? And SEO kept popping up. So I studied SEO. And when I learned SEO, I applied it to the blog. Readers started coming in and my traffic went up. And I realized maybe some people need to learn this and they need it as a service. So I started the SEO Hacker blog. And that blog, I just wrote all my strategies, tactics there. People started reading it. Then people started to hire me. And I started out as a freelancer, really, a one-man team. But because the projects kept coming in, I had to hire more people, finally rent an office, and we grew and grew and grew from there. But it really stemmed from, I guess, my failure in college. 28 units of failure brought me down to my knees. My last 2,000 pesos, I gave it up to God. See, God will use your weakness, and God will bless a lot of people with it, like what I'm sharing with you now. Imagine that kind of failure leading to me sharing what I know with you guys. All of the stuff that I'm telling you now, I hope it's helpful to you. I hope that it's valuable to you. And I cannot be doing this if I didn't go through that kind of failure. Can you give us an idea what are the KPIs of a guy like you in a day? KPIs, helping my people. So I am fortunate that I have really good people in the team. And the most important thing for me is to help them do their job well. I am not a guy who peppers you with a lot of flowery words. Again, I'm a guy who cuts to the chase, tells you the truth. Sometimes it hurts, but everything that I say is meant to help you. It is not meant to destroy you. Although some people do see it that way, but that is my job. That is my main KPI. Now, I've shared also before that one of our team members passed away, so I am carrying that load as a specialist right now. I'm carrying some of it, maybe not all of it, but some of it. So I'm back in the fray, doing SEO work hands-on, and that is a KPI that I'm doing as well. And I'm also starting another business, so everything is just jumbled up right now for me. I'm doing a lot every day. And the KPI that I have there is to make sure that the business is moving forward. The website is being built, and we're doing SEO for that website as well. And we wanna make sure that we're able to sell. So no, I did not forget the key term. That's fine. Let's omit that key term. So good evening to people who are tuned in. I want to shout out Jin. I hope you learned from last week's business consulting question, the one that you left here. I hope that was helpful for you. Another question from Cedric. Can you share with us your journaling habits or routines? So when I open my journal, I use a fountain pen. By the way, if you want to know what kind of journal I keep, it's a leather journal, super simple, and I have the sheets here are refillable. So my handwriting is hideous. You will not be able to understand my handwriting. Sometimes I don't understand my own handwriting, and I use a fountain pen. And that's really how I journal. I just have it on my work desk. Whenever I feel like I need to pour my heart out, I just open it up and start writing. I make sure to write the date stamp and timestamp, and I just pretty much do free flow. I just write. That's how I do it because it's my journal. It's not meant for anyone to read. I don't need to fix the font. I don't need to fix my handwriting. I don't need to make the words flowery. I don't need to elongate the words there. It is a free flow journal, and I just pour my heart out there. So, shout out to Love. Thank you for tuning in from Facebook. We have a question from Jazz. How did you deal with people, especially friends, family, or loved ones, who didn't believe in your capabilities in running your business? Funny story, because I actually had a little argument with my dad because he wanted me to climb the corporate ladder. The irony is, my dad is a businessman. He runs a trading company for hardware items here in the Philippines. And we got into an argument because it's true what he said. It's very difficult to do business here. The government, it doesn't really help when they slap you with a lot of taxes, and they're corrupt also. They ask you for a lot of the guy. You know how it is. I know how it is. It is difficult to be a businessman here. My dad didn't want me to be a businessman because he said, I remember he told me, there's no way that you're gonna make it clean. There's no way the government is gonna make you play it dirty. They're gonna make you play it dirty. There's no way you can make it clean. So he doesn't want me to do that because he wants me to be a man of integrity and honor, and he knows that I love and fear God. And so he wanted me to climb the corporate ladder. I was working during that time in HP, and I remember we had arguments about me resigning. So it's not that he didn't believe in my capacity or capability to run the business, but I think he didn't understand what I was doing. I mean, SEO, no one has heard about SEO way back 2009, 2010. Walang may alam ng SEO. It's a blue ocean. My dad, mind blown. Hindi niya alam po anong ginagawa ko. So in his mind and eyes, I was like playing, and I wasn't. It couldn't be a profitable business. There is no way that it's gonna grow. There's no way it's gonna be sustainable, stable, and secure. And that's what my father wanted for me, because he's my dad. He loves me, and he wants me to take care of myself. And he wants what's best for me, guys. That's it. It wasn't because he was trying to put me down, but he just wanted what's best for me in his own eyes and in his own mind. And we finally settled with a negotiation where he asked me to talk to his church leader and to prove that I had the plan B if the business fails. And I showed them that a lot of people were trying to hire me actually from here and abroad on LinkedIn. I had a ton of hiring messages. I don't know why. Maybe because they read SEO Hacker. I don't know. They were looking for me as to be an SEO manager during that time. I had open positions for me to fill up in Australia and the US and all of these places. And so I showed that to them. And finally they said, okay, then your plan B looks pretty solid. Then you can try and start SEO Hacker and run it full time. So that's what I did. So it wasn't because they didn't believe in my capability. It's just that they didn't understand what I was doing. So thankfully, wala naman akong family, friends, or loved ones na sinabing, di mo kaya yan, or, they would put me down. Wala namang ganon, no? By God's grace. So we have a question also from Monster Wings. Thank you for consistently sharing your thoughts. My question is, how do you keep your passion burning? How to deal with stressful people and business frustrations? All right. Passion. The word passion comes from the from the Latin word pati, which means suffering. So when you say you're passionate about something, it means you're willing to suffer for something. How do I keep the passion burning? How do I keep allowing myself to suffer for the business or for my businesses? Well, when you know that you're not the CEO, when you know that you're not the real business owner, but God is, and He expects the best from me, that helps me. That helps me keep the fire going. And when I know that there's a lot of people, I have 50 people in SEO Hacker, as far as I remember. When you have 50 people who rely on you to make things work, that keeps the fire burning. When you have your family that you have to provide for, and you have to secure their future in a very uncertain time, that helps me to keep the fire going, to keep the passion going. There are so many things that I'm also grateful for and thankful for. And whenever I pray and I say these things out loud and I thank God for these things, that helps the passion going for me. You know, motivation, and I keep saying this, the how you get motivated every day is be grateful every day. Have 10 things that you're thankful for every day, and you will know that there's no reason for you to stop. There's no reason for you to shortchange yourself and just laze out, be lazy. There's no reason. There's a lot of reasons for you to make sure you do your best. Your next question is how to deal with stressful people and business frustrations. Well, the first thing I do is I quiet down, settle down, I pray. Sometimes I meditate. I just put on my noise canceling headphones, turn on the meditation audio, and just close my eyes and meditate. Just breathe deep, and that relaxes me. And then I journal. I make sure to write it out, because if I don't write it out, guess what? It squats on my head. And a lot of people, again, what they do is they leak it out on social media, which is the worst, one of the worst things, if not the worst thing you can do. I just write it out on a journal. That's what I do. I deal with stressful people truthfully. My wife says that I have to do it truthfully and with love, but my tendency is to just do it truthfully. I need to add a little bit more love in my words, I know. So I'm a work in progress when it comes to that one, but usually I just confront them straight on. That's how I deal with stressful people. Jin says, don't forget to answer the follow-up question last week. Yes, thank you for reminding me about that. Let me just look for that question that you put in last week. Here's the follow-up question from Jin. Thanks for the insight. Just to give you a background, when I started selling in Facebook, I brought the frozen product by myself from Singapore. Pinagkasya ko lang sa luggage ko, or maximum na lang in 2 boxes. Pre-order ginawa ko para pag-uwi ng Manila, dispatched agad. Basically, inuuwi mo yung product from Singapore, and pag-uwi mo sa Manila, you sell it, and immediately it gets sold out. I did it for a year. Pabalik-balik ako ng Singapore. My hobby's there. Okay, and you sold around 1K packs. Fantastic. My challenge is the storage dahil hindi lahat kasya sa ref. So sometimes naglalagay na lang ako sa ice sa styro box pag hindi nakukuha agad. Here's the thing, once i-import ko siya via sea, I will be charged for a full container load, or we call that the MOQ, or minimum order quantity. One pallet has 50 boxes, 5 packs in total, malayo sa 1,000 packs na nasold mo for the entire year. Okay, so that's more than double. Once mag-import ako, thinking of at least 5 pallets para hindi masayang shipping fee, sobrang dami niya pa rin. And need ko maghanap ng cold storage to rent. Maybe that's the reason why I'm looking at supermarket para direct sa sariling warehouse and product. Okay? But you're gonna have a consignment fee, somewhere 15 to 30%, which is huge. So your profit margin will be smaller. You will saturate the market, meaning you will satisfy them. So your demand will also decrease. Meaning your profit margins cannot go that high because supply and demand, diba? The more supply there is, kasi nilagay mo siya sa grocery stores, the less demand. If there's less demand, then your price, you cannot increase it really that well. Okay, but you're right. I realized after you answered my question, iba pa rin yung direct selling. I should find distributors, resellers sa iba't ibang area. Okay. My fear is hindi lahat may freezer to store it. Also thinking of offering the products sa mga shabu-shabu restaurants, though I don't know how to start with that. What's your opinion? All right. Yes, ang haba niya. Pero I hope that you guys got to follow this business case study that I'm going to try to answer right now. So in my opinion, you are in a scale-up process. No? Parang startup siya na you're trying to scale it up to see how you can balance it out. This has happened to me before in SEO Hacker, and this is because when we have new clients, tapos tsaka pa lang ako mag-hire, ititrain pa namin yung bagong tao, maghahabol kami. So what I do is, there's a dilemma. Do I hire first para pag nakakuha ako ng bagong kliyente, may tao na akong ready to take on the client, ready to take on the load, para hindi kami overloaded, kaming mga team members na nandyan na? Or do I wait to get a new client before I hire? Because hiring a new person, tapos wala naman akong bagong client papasok, is more of an expense. So it's like a chicken and egg problem, and you're actually there in that area right now because you're actually selling 1,000 packs. Yeah, 1,000 packs for 1 year going to and from Singapore, you immediately sell it out. You don't have a problem there. But now you're thinking, if you're going to get the MOQ or the minimum order quantity, papa-deliver mo dito via container, 2,500 packs na yon. And you're not sure kung kaya mong ibenta or ubusin lahat agad. Now, in terms of freezer, if you're going to buy freezers, capex na yan, capital expense. Meaning you're going to have to pay for it. You're going to have that equipment for a long time, assuming you bought a good quality freezer. So hindi naman yun nabubulok. My opinion is, if you really want to scale, there's risk there. My book, 50x Your Business, which you can buy from Amazon. Again, the title is 50x Your Business. And you just search by Ramsey. That's the latest book that I published. That's all about scaling up. That's all about the risk of growth, the capital injection you need to put in when you're growing your business or your company. There is a new risk. There is new capital injections when you're scaling up. It is much like starting up, unfortunately, sadly. So it's difficult, but it's also a very exciting time because right now, ang maganda naman doon, may pondo ka na kasi nakabenta ka na ng 1,000 packs eh. It's not like you didn't have money. Now you have money. It's just that you're gonna risk it again. That's why that's where we get the term na pinapaikot yung pera. You have to reinvest that money you made into assets, equipments like freezers. Don't spend it on new cars. Don't spend it on new gadgets. Don't spend it on things you want, liabilities. Spend it on assets. My suggestion, if that freezer is gonna go a long way and it allows you to sell the 2,500 packs, definitely go buy the freezer. If you're gonna want to have distributors, my suggestion, you get a franchise consultant and ask the franchise consultant, how am I gonna do this? I'm not an expert when it comes to franchising, but that's one way you can go. Because if you want distribution centers who will help you distribute your product, they have to have a profit margin. They have to have their own freezers, which you may provide or you may ask them to buy as their capital expenditure or their capital investment. And then you have to have a system of transporting that product to them, making sure they're stocked up, hindi sila naubusan ng inventaryo, making sure that they can sell online with whatever channels you're using or you may be using right now. If you're hearing that sound, that's my son right here playing. Leo, I'm doing a show right now. Is it okay if you keep quiet? All right, very good. All right, so those are things that you can do. Shabu shabu restaurants, again, I have no experience doing it that way, stocking up your inventory in restaurants, but they are probably going to get a cut or they are going to ask you for a discount as well. So again, the profit margin becomes a little bit cut off there. This becomes a little bit less, and it also saturates the market. And restaurants are not really doing fantastically well right now. Cloud kitchens are doing better, so you can look into that. But in my opinion, what you can do is have some distribution centers set up. I think that might be the most helpful thing because that way you control the brand, you control how you want to sell it, you control the profit margin, and you're just gonna have to negotiate with these distribution centers. They are gonna make money anyway out of it. You just have to pitch the business to them. Hey, you wanna do a legitimate business? Here, I have inventory. This is how much it sells. This is the profit margin we can make. And do you want to try it out? All you need is a freezer and nothing more. Love you. Papa is in a show, kids, huh? So sorry about that. Yeah. So I hope, Jen, that helps you out. Straightforward, handling it truthfully. Cedric, how often do you read books? I read the Bible every day. So I read one to three chapters a day, depending on where I am. So right now I'm in the book of Hosea. Hosea, if you didn't know, is the prophet that God asked him to marry a prostitute. And that is to paint a picture about how Israel has prostituted itself during that time to idols and other countries instead of serving and worshiping the Lord God, who is the one true husband of Israel. So I read the Bible every day. I do read other books. So right now I'm reading The Ultimate Sales Letter, which is a book I don't highly recommend because The Ultimate Sales Letter is a book about sales letters in direct mail. So snail mail. Hindi siya email, hindi siya tech, hindi siya modern, hindi siya updated. But there are principles there that are timeless. And I am learning some things in it, but I might apply speed reading na, no? Kasi medyo nababagalan na ako dun sa pace ng book. I'm also reading Principles by Ray Dalio. Ray Dalio is one of the biggest names when it comes to hedge fund investments. So I'm learning a lot from there, and I'm also reading Motivate, which is a book by Pastor Peter Tanchi and his family. And it is fantastic. It teaches you about family and how you're going to have a better time, a better way to discipline your kids, to spend more time with them, to talk with them, to communicate with them. And your wife or spouse is a fantastic book. So those are the things that I'm reading. From Mark Davis. Biglang dumami yung questions. No? Akala ko tapos na tayo ng 8:30. Pero guys, thank you so much for your questions. I hope you're learning a lot. And if you have questions, please go to this link right here from dachon.c/discord to ask your questions. Naubusan ako ng boses. Mark Davis, do you run FB ads? What are the best practices to increase our sales? Well, I do run FB ads actually. So I'm running for Leadership Stack. I just want more brand awareness for the podcast. Why am I doing this? Because I want to help more people. I don't get anything from it. I don't have endorsement deals. I don't have sponsorships, advertisements, nothing. So I'm not getting anything from this, but I'm running FB ads because I want to help more people. So there's different reasons why you want to run FB ads. I am also running FB ads for some clients who are selling food online. They are making money. So the ROI is really good for them. So it really depends on your purpose and intention. There are people who run FB ads for reach awareness. There are people who run ads for helping people like what I'm doing. Then there are companies and organizations who run FB ads for hiring, which I'm also doing, by the way. SEO Hacker, we are hiring. We have tons of open positions: digital marketing consultant, SEO specialist, writers, link builders, you name it. Ang dami naming hinahire ngayon. So if you're looking for a job or you know someone who's looking for a job, please send us over their portfolio, PM our Facebook page, SEO Hacker, or email us at hr@seo-hacker.com. hr@seo-hacker.com. Just email us your CV or your resume and tell us that you're applying. So I am running FB ads for that right now because we need people in the team. We need more people. We don't want to get caught with our pants down when the economy starts to continue on. And I think that the economy is trying its best right now to get jump started and move again. So we are getting some inquiries. We are getting new clients in, and we want to make sure that we have the right manpower to be able to not just handle the work, but to make sure that we fulfill our promise that we provide only the best quality kind of digital marketing and SEO out there, and the ROI is really big. So that's one reason why we're running FB ads. Best practices to increase your sales. Right now, we're getting a lot of our closed deals from the keyword SEO Philippines, SEO Services Philippines. So these are keywords that we rank for, and we practice what we preach. So we do SEO for our own websites and entities. And that's actually how I get to close a lot of deals. So that's my best practice. How you get referrals, how you get word out about your company, about yourself. Well, if you have platforms like, for example, the Leadership Stack podcast or what I'm doing right now, you guys know I'm running SEO Hacker. I'm the CEO and founder. So maybe if you know someone who needs SEO or digital marketing, you would refer them to me. I don't know, but the chances of you not knowing me is very high. So if I'm not doing anything to make sure that I'm out there, I don't get referrals, I don't get business, I don't get sales. So best practices is to just keep on going. SEO is one really, really good way to make sure that you get sales because people are searching already, and they are when they search and find you're offering it, they're that much close to being a customer. So I'm not promoting SEO for just promoting it or because I'm running SEO as a company, but really SEO is an extremely really good platform. It's an extremely good digital marketing process that will just give you more and more leads and more sales. From May Angeli Madamba Pedro, thank you for being here tonight. Hi, Sage. Baba's in the show, huh? You wait for me to finish. Okay? Yes? So, I hope you guys are learning so far. From Patrick Miguel, we have another question. What's your best learning for this week? I shared it actually in the Discord channel, and I shared it also via my social media platforms and profiles. That there is an encouragement that I recently read. I'm gonna have to pull up that link. Actually, I haven't. I don't have it here with me right now. But if you're part of the Discord community, which is the link right here from the chon.c/discord, you're gonna be able to see it in the new learning notes. So yeah, I don't know if I could put it in the chat box. Yeah, I'm gonna put it in the chat box. I hope you can see it in wherever you are tuning into. Of course, if you're tuning into Discord, you already know the link. It's there. So that is something that I've read this week that is super helpful. So far that's it, guys. It's a wrap, and it's 8:54, so we only have a 6-minute excess. Thank you so much for putting in your questions. Oh man, tonight was really good. I was able to answer a lot and I spoke super fast. I hope you guys were able to follow. But if you weren't, we're going to turn this into a podcast, and you can follow us on Spotify. Where is the link? There is the link. leadme.ph/Spotify. If you haven't followed us yet, please do follow us there. That's where we publish this episode on audio so that you can listen in while you're taking a bath, while you're driving, while you're exercising, or doing some other secondary work where you don't need to do a lot of brain power to process it. Why do we need this net? Sage, why are you so noisy while I'm doing the show? Why? This is my second son, Sage Ashton C. Okay? Thanks, guys, for tuning in, and I'll see you next week. Cheers.